Angra and Sanguinius might not look similar to one another at first glance. I mean, one acted and became a demonic monster, and the other was an angelic figure. However, both of these characters are similar, like two sides of the same coin. Despite what they might look like, these two Primarchs had a chance to become like each other. Angron being a noble, caring warrior, and Sanguinius being a raging berserker, since their legion and their characteristics tend to parallel to one another quite a lot. So we will discuss this more in depth, how close these two Primarchs could have been to become one another, and despite going their separate road, they still mirror each other like a dark reflection. We will begin how they landed on Norn's respective planets, since this is where all the problems started, especially for Angron. We know the story. He got captured, became a slave, and eventually forced to wear the butcher's nails, completely changing him and becoming a raging berserker. How is this similar to Sanguinius? Well, despite growing up to become one of the best Primarchs in a Great Crusade, there was a chance that he could have fallen just like Angron. Even though Sanguinius might look perfect, he has a lot of issues happening within him. For starters, despite looking like an angelic figure, he sees himself nothing more than a mutant, an unhealthy person compared to the humans he's trying to protect. And another is his rage. One of the things that makes his legion unique is that his children are a picture perfect image of him, as in their looks as well as their genetic flaw. If the children are able to go berserk in the Red Thirst, Sanguinius could have as well. In battles, there are multiple occurrences where Sanguinius can summon his inner wrath, coming across more like a monster than an angel. If the people that found Sanguinius decided to kill him, since they were debating what to do, essentially, in their eyes, a mutant, he would have killed them, and got on a character like Angron, where Sanguinius will lead his band of mutants due to losing faith in humanity, falling more into the Red Thirst, embracing it instead of holding back, and hiding it to be the image that people expect an angel to be. We could see it spread to his legion, having them embracing it, just like how Angron forced upon his children to embrace the butcher's nails. Luckily, Sanguinius didn't fall and was able to prevail and become the icon he is. However, what about Angron? Well, he would have been similar to Sanguinius. I believe there is no coincidence why they call him the Red Angel. Yes, it's a way to mock him, but of all the words, why use angel? Well, I believe Angron was going to be an angelic person. Sanguinius is more of a symbol, since his personality, view of himself, and his legion Red Thirst and Rage contradicts what you imagine an angel going to be. While Angron was going to be the embodiment of an angel, who's able to take away the pain of others, act as a guardian for humanity because of his empathy, something that could be easily viewed as an angelic thing. The similarities between the two Primarchs continues. Sanguinius is all about giving people choices. He doesn't force others to make a decision if they're not willing to do it. So when he met his legion, he asked them he could join them, letting his sons decide if they want him to lead them, causing the legion to rise to follow their father's example and pursue a more peaceful method than embracing their Red Thirst. Angron would have done something similar like this, where he wouldn't force himself onto the legion because that's something a tyrant would do. Angron hates them for making others suffer and taking away their freedom. If he met his warhounds without the butcher nails, he would have joined like any other warhound, not seeing himself as a leader. Keep in mind, Angron is an inherently wrathful person. It's the butcher nails and his past filling him with so much rage. Without it, he would have been a calm person like Sanguinius, being a humble figure despite having a rough exterior. If Angron came back whole, he would let the legion to be more honorable, no longer being a bunch of sadistic barbarians going out enjoying slaughter, but being more calmer, acting as protectors. Since the legion had a code of honor, it just needed a leader to refine it. And this is why Angron is such a sad character, because he never got a chance to do this, nor he was given a choice in his life, forced to wear the nails, forced to abandon his family, forced to be part of a crusade, and forced to be a demon. When it came to interacting with his legion, he didn't much care about them, so the warhounds wanting a Primarch so badly forced him to be their leader. This just led the legion to fall because they're trying to follow their father's example to wear the butcher's nails and embrace their rage. Going back to Sanguinius, he would have ended up having a similar fate as Angron. In this version, the Emperor finds him leading a bunch of mutants that he calls family. His refusal to join the Emperor has Sanguinius forcibly behind his mutants. Without a leader, they're most likely dead. When he reunites with his legion, he doesn't much care about them, only thinking of his mutated family. This will lead the Revenant Legion to do the same thing like the Warhounds. In the efforts to get their father's approval, they willingly accept the mutations in their blood in order to get close to him. With their already barbaric way of fighting made worse, where now you have a bunch of mutated space marines going around eating people. Let us take a bit of a break in talking about them and bring up their sons. Since the Legion before their transformation were similar in being barbaric, enjoying close combat, and just being bloodthirsty. Both of the legions moved on from their past, forgetting that it ever existed. However, one thing still remained the same after so much time, being their utilization of rage in combat. Since the Blood Angels, despite their best efforts in trying to keep their red thirst in check, still spells out during combat. It's just something they can't get rid of, so they use it in a more controlled manner to enhance their combat skills, making their fighting skills seem so perfect because how well they're able to control their rage in a more focused point. That's why you hear them being excellent soldiers at range and close combat. As for the warriors, they don't hide their rage or hold themselves back at all, they use it in a more blunt manner. The Butchers and Elves force them to be more brutal, enhances their combat skills, making them go past their limits to overwhelm their opponents with just sheer raw power. Their combat is nothing elegant or perfect or held any sense of military, it's just good old-fashioned butchery. Even their designs and their constructs to each other, Blood Angels take great care of how they look when it comes to combat to embody that angelic warrior, with the armor being highly decorated, while the warriors care little how they look, only interested in who's next in line to be cut down. Something pretty basic like red paint on the Blood Angels symbolizing blood, while the War Leader's armor is painted by the blood from the people that they've slaughtered. Finally, let's finish talking about the two Primarchs. They pretty much died in their own way. Sanguinius was killed by Horus, causing his soul to be shattered, and Angron died 3 times. First, being forced to wear the Butcher's nails. Second, turned into a demon, who's not even conscious of his own body, being nothing more than a slave, further adding to the tragic fate of Angron. And lastly, being killed by Sanguinius himself, banished to come back eons later. I mean, I can't emphasize how much Angron is gone, because not even his own book is a character, having nothing more than just 15 minutes of appearance. Granted, that book is just bad, and for me to cope with the time lost to listen to it, I'm just gonna try to get some substance out of it, since I see Angron no longer a character or a person at all. He's just nothing more than a weapon to be used. I'm going to get a bit off our topic, but the reason why I like Angron so much is that the character feels grimdark, nothing but tragedy and misery throughout his existence. Also, one of the few Primarchs that had a good reason to portray the Emperor that didn't have to do anything with Chaos or Xeno, just a poor man who was given a bad hand and never had a chance to play his cards. Let's get back on track and talk about their deaths. Both of them left behind quite a legacy. Continuing talking about Angron, his legacy is nothing but just sadness, hate, and tragedy. He never gave much love for his children, in turn not a single one really cares about him, only seen as a potential weapon to be used in war. We see his broken teachings reflected on Khan, where being one of the few to be close to Angron left him nothing but a husk, betraying his brothers, furthering leaving the Legion nothing but a shadow remain. He is no longer interested in the future or his father, only cares about the next big battle. The Legion misery spread to the others as well, forcing the new warriors to wear the Butcher's nails, being just a weapon to be used in war, without any semblance of understanding of their own history. Sanguinius left behind a brighter legacy, despite unintentionally giving his sons the Black Rage. His love, dedication, and teachings to his sons left behind a strong bond towards him that even 10,000 years in the future, his sons still love their father who they never met. One of the characters that brings to mind Sanguinius' legacy is Dante, where his character embraces all the things that Sanguinius had his sons learn, caring for the lives of the Imperium and doing his best to make the right decisions in a dark age. He also became a symbol just like his father was to the Imperium, wearing his mask, throwing himself to close combat to inspire his brothers and the human soldiers to fight, especially in losing battles. Even though he's nothing but fragments, Sanguinius still finds ways to interact with his sons. Angron and Sanguinius are honestly both pretty similar, kind of like Conrad Curze and Corvus Corax. Both of them could easily be like each other, especially since they tend to parallel quite a lot, how much they favor close combat, talking about freedom, and the potential of being angelic figures. I genuinely believe that Angron was going to be Sanguinius' copy, which is why I think the Emperor was pretty frustrated finding his son broken, acting like a dick towards him. And of course, it doesn't excuse how he treated Angron, but it just gives you some idea what he was thinking, especially since letting him continue living. The Emperor already lost 2 sons and couldn't afford to lose another one. Not only that, but the nails were slowly killing him, and the problem was going to solve itself in the Emperor's mind. The tale of the 2 angels shows how easy they could have fallen or risen, not because of their personalities, the choices they made, or chaos, just pure happenstance. So thank you for watching, and bye.